but I just thought our work complemented each other, and especially my goal is to make more Mascaron to where it could be like purely face on the wall exhibit stuff. And it'd be cool to, I don't know, collab with you, especially in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to build something off of your more of your face wall hanging. Like you do like a really cool coral something. That would be nice. I just wish that we'd had more time to collaborate, because I know we talked about doing a piece, but it's just the timing, because when you do faces, you have to do it on wet clay. And so just traveling with something like that is really difficult, and just the organization of it seemed pretty intense.
Yeah, if we had a common studio like at the art center to like keep the piece at, and like the pandemic is having issues for collaboration as well. But
yeah, we will collab in the near future for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and also Chris does a lot of just like coiling, and I do pinching. There's lots of like hand building philosophy.
There's techniques that overlap. Like sometimes you have to coil to make a pinched piece. Sometimes you have to pinch to make a coil piece. Like all these vases in here are pinched together coils that are pinched together. So
okay. So, Chris, I sent you that list of questions, and we don't have to talk about all of them. We'll start with the first one about the concept of your exhibition. We didn't ask Jen the dinner, living and dead question, which is my own personal question, so we can just skip that one. I just think that that's a fun one, and sometimes it's really good when I have folks who won't talk very much, which is hard for me because I do talk a lot. So, but we'll get started. And I try to, it doesn't really happen very often, but I try to ask the question, you answer the question, and then take a brief pause before the next question so that I can have a break so I can see where to cut things. But if it doesn't work that way, like I said, it hardly ever works that way. So it's okay. But we'll try. Maybe someday I'll achieve that. It's a life goal. So tell us a little bit about the concept of your part of the exhibition, about limbs, and what inspired you when creating these pieces.
So what started, it seemed kind of random, but I'm really big into music. And that goes after my dad. He's a musician, and he listens to a lot of music. And so one day I ran into one of my favorite songs, and I'm not gonna say that song yet, but I ran into it and kind of decided to research into it and found that song is inspired by the ocean. And so I explored the idea of synesthesia, which is when you perceive, or in this instance, I perceived sound into like a visual setting. And so there's a lot of repetitive like loops and just repetitive sounds that I visualized in this setting right behind me. There's actually two parts to this exhibit. There's my individual kind of non-installation work, and there's this installation piece, but all of it is made of coils.
Okay. So what is your process for making those coils? I took some pictures. I came up and took some pictures when you were installing, and that installation piece is, I'm guessing, thousands of small pieces all lined up together, and you had a very systematic, you had kind of mounds of this shape and mounds of that shape, and you were putting them together and making it. But how do you create each of the little pieces? What types of ceramic methods do you use? Are they fired in a kiln? That kind of stuff. Talk about your process.
Yeah, so all of my coils are actually hand rolled. They're not extruded, which is a mechanism where it just spits out clay coils. But no, I hand roll everything in this gallery, right? Or everything that's in this gallery right now is hand rolled. And that came with some challenges. The challenge of time, like getting my timing right, having enough to display, because hand rolling does take a little bit more time, but I can say that there's a lot more pride to be had with doing so. And of course, there's challenges of like gravity. Gravity is always against you when you are making with clay. So
So when you say hand roll, so I think most everybody in America, or maybe in Arkansas, has played with Play-Doh at some point and made like a snake with Play-Doh. So is it that same method where you lay it out and you're rolling it back and forth to get a longer length? And so I'm guessing an extruder is going to make it uniform. Whereas hand rolling, there's variety, right? Or imperfection.
So it took me a while to get that down, but when I roll, I make everything the same. I make everything the same width, the same thickness.
Wow.
I mean, that just comes with practice and muscle memory, which takes a long time to I guess learn. So after I roll everything out, I then make every single piece on the banding wheel, which is kind of like a cake decorator, but it's more of a better quality, a ceramic quality wheel. And that's called hand turning. And then after the piece dries, I then bisque fire it. And with the installation, this is only bisque fired. I did not glaze it. And the reason why I chose that is because I loved the color scheme of the bisqueware. There's about 9 different types of clays, except terracotta. And the color scheme of it looked more coral-like. If I would have fired it to like a glaze fire, like a lot hotter temperature, it would have turned brown. It would have turned dull. It wouldn't have looked lively. And so that's why I did the bisque firing.
So the clays that you use give the colors, because you've got whites and you've got kind of an off-white, and there's what I would call a coral color, like a salmon color.
So the white is a porcelain. The off-white is a white stoneware. The brownish kind of pastel brown is a dark brown clay. And so there's, I think about, every clay that the Museum of Fine Art offers is what's in the installation.
Okay, cool. So you make them, and I mean, I know, people that don't know a lot about ceramics or know just enough to be dangerous about ceramics, you know that there's clay and you know that there's glazes. So you've taken these clays and you've made them but then you fire it without glazing it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why it gives it's almost like a chalky appearance, So
and another reason why I chose to only bisque fire is when you take a real piece of coral that's dried out and dead, and if you compare it to my bisqueware, they feel the exact same. It feels like dead coral.
Yeah.
And so that's another cool reason why I did all this.
So do you want to talk about the different shapes that you have in there? I mean, because and we'll have photographs, obviously that we'll be able to show people, some of your pieces. I mean, it looks like coral. It looks like if you've seen coral in a picture or you've seen it in real life, you've got that brain looking coral and the ones that are tall and spiky and the little tubes that you expect something to shoot out of.
Yeah. So I was mainly inspired by pointillism with the synesthesia concept. If you listen to that song, which I'm not going to name, I found that the piano loops and just the random notes and pitches and stuff related to pointillism, and so different widths, different heights of each tube sponges, or what they are. It kind of reflects those sounds. And then there's also 8 or 9 different types of coral here. There's coral that kind of flare out. There's tube sponges. There are microtube sponges. There are trumpet sponges. Like anything that forms a tube-like shape or that forms that idea of pointillism. That's what I tried to do, or that's what I picked out. There's so many kinds of coral out there, but I try to nitpick those specific ones that related closely to pointillism.
Well, and that's really cool because, in Arkansas, we are in a landlocked state with no coral reefs anywhere around. And you can come and see what looks like a coral reef. I mean, it really is super cool. I was really impressed. I had seen the picture ahead of time, and then when I saw you installing, I was like, oh my gosh, they're all individual pieces. So very cool. So talk a little bit about your journey as an artist thus far. Did you take classes as a child? Did you always know that you wanted to be an artist? Did you study it in college? Just kind of talk a little bit about how you've gotten to this point.
Well, I've always been inspired by the ocean. Every summer I would go see my great-grandparents. They lived in Florida and they lived in St. Augustine. And as a kid, they lived 2 blocks away from the beach. And so almost every summer we would go and play on the beach or something like that. So I've always been an ocean admirer, I guess. But I don't, like throughout high school, throughout college, I did not have a ceramic background. It was mainly drawing and painting and theater. I did not start ceramics until my last year of college. And I was a work study up in Nebraska. And I was in charge of reestablishing the ceramics department after 20 years of not having it. And so it was just a big old storage room. And so that kind of sparked my love for ceramics, just cleaning up that room and getting to know the equipment, getting to know the process, like that sparked something.
Mm-hmm. Super cool.
And that was back in 2015.
And you are part of, if I can get that, Rolling Hills Pottery. So in addition to the coral type pieces that you do, I mean, do you also make more functional mugs, plates,
yes,
things like that?
So I make all of those out of coils too. And so
okay.
The Rolling Hills idea comes from where Rolling Hills Pottery was established, and that was in Nebraska. And their geography is known for rolling hills and cornfields and just very subtle hills.
Mhm.
And that's just the birthplace of where my pottery journey started. And coils easily represent that. I can easily make coils look like they're rolling, like kind of wavy. And so you'll see kind of these wavy shapes in all of my pieces.
Cool.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, you did. Yes, that was very good. Okay, Colin, do you have, unmute yourself.
Let's see. You talked about the process a little bit. You talked about background.
Future projects?
Yes. Do you see yourself continuing mostly within the installation part of your ceramics, or is it a dual? You'll do both of them, or are there other projects in the future that you want to work on? You talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm always gonna go back and forth between my personal work and installation art. I do plan on expanding this installation quite a bit. I mean, it's a lifelong project. I mean, I'm not gonna stop here. And I'm a wheel thrower firsthand. Like that's how I started. That's what I've been doing for 6 years. And I started to form a really bad back because, you know, being hunched over a wheel almost every single day for 8 to 10 hours a day, that really hurts your back and it damages it. So I had to find a new way to make. And so someone told me about the banding wheel, which is just a little turntable. And I started making coil pots on banding wheels, and I feel so much better. But yeah, I still plan on doing installation art, and it's just whatever comes to mind, whatever gives me idea, like whatever I run into, like that song. It's just people need to quit giving me ideas because then I'll have to do it.
How long did it take you to install that piece up in the loft galleries?
3.5 days, or you know, I was here for 2 to 4 hours for 3 days.
And how do you transport all those pieces? I mean, that seems like, you know, like, okay, so I'm a knitter. So yarn, you can throw in something, you're not going to hurt it, right?
Yeah, so
You
I just
throw that, you're going to break it.
Yeah, so I just put them in these tote boxes, and with these pieces, since they stack really easily, usually I use like a beach towel for like cushioning, or these foam sheets. But I did not with these pieces. I just completely packed them tight, made sure they didn't like move in the box, and they were okay. Only like 2 pieces broke
Wow.
in that transition out of the thousands. So I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive, because
And
I
they
would have.
were small pieces too. So.
Oh, good. So you wouldn't have even known. You wouldn't even miss them, right?
Are you going to continue, also going to continue being a teacher?
Yeah, yes. So I teach homeschool kids. I actually go to their house, and they converted their garage into a classroom.
Oh, cool.
And it's a 2-door garage. It's really nice. They kind of made it safe. And then I used to teach youth ceramics at the museum, fine art. But now as of last week, I started my first adult online class, and that's predominantly coiling. So that's fun.
How's teaching online?
Don't get me started.
Okay.
The idea of online class, especially when it comes to art, any kind of art, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, it's about the collaboration. It's about the in-person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
I am complaining, but
Understand.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're making it work
Yeah.
in this weird time that we're in.
Quickly, you mentioned that the ocean is a inspiration, music is an inspiration. Anything else possibly? Are there any artists that inspire you in a direction?
Yeah, there's a bunch of contemporary artists that that I look up to. I can't name, or I really don't remember their names. Thanks to Instagram, because I don't know their username. There's really, I mean, anything that I can look at.
Are they artists in other media that you're inspired by, or is it just ceramics?
It's mainly ceramics, but if it's either ceramics or just in general 3D art.
Okay.
A good question is, where did I get the name Limbs from?
That's a very
Okay. That's a very good question.
Where did you get the name Limbs from for this film?
So
Does it give, is it the title of a song?
No. So this project took me about 2 years to do, off and on, not like every day. I mean, that would be insane. But and so I kind of got really attached to it, to the point where it became a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's where the limbs comes in, because it's practically a part of me, a part of a limb of me, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, especially with working in such a limby medium, like, I don't know, that's just it's a very weak explanation, but the idea is there.
Well,
I can totally see it.
It's just pieces of what come from my hands and mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got the shape. You've got the shape of limbs, or some of the things, and then yeah, it became that totally makes sense. I buy it.
Coral is limbs of the sea anyway. I mean, it's practically a living being in the sea. So
yeah,
I mean, there's a bunch of ideas that are just mixed together, but it's mainly just being a part of me, because there's so much work. There was so much blood and sweat and tears put into it. So a lot of finances put into it as well. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and we'll encourage everybody to come and see the exhibition in the Loft Gallery at the Roberts Library. So this has been great. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Hang on, don't go anywhere.